Happy Wednesday evening from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is the 5th and final midweek USL special at Highmark Stadium this season for Riverhounds SC as they host Tampa Bay Rowdies. And we're looking forward to a good one tonight. And I'm not just saying that. Tampa Bay desperately trying to get back into the Eastern Conference playoff picture, while the Hounds are trying to chase down FC Cincinnati for the top spot in the East. I'm Matt Geico alongside Gene Klein and Paul Child. And also, the first meeting between these two teams this season down at Al Lang Stadium in St. Petersburg, Florida was quite the looker. It did have its share of quirky moments, finishing in a 2-2 draw. A wet pitch at Al Lang Stadium, guys, led to the rainbow, and also some tough moments for both keepers, which we'll get to right now. Dan Lind of the Riverhounds, he had to look up at a 1-0 deficit here after this short corner, Gene.
Yeah, well orchestrated play by Tampa Bay, and you can see they get a little touch, goes through a few legs, and Danny Lind can come up with a save.
Lance Rosenboom getting his one and only goal to this point right there with that redirect. The Hounds, well, they were chasing the ball for a lot of the night, Paul, but here proving dangerous after Akita Fitzgerald can't handle this shot from Romeo Parks.
Yeah, they really got a break there. Keeper doing a save, and then the defender coming back and really gets caught awkwardly and scores in his own net. Very rare for the Hounds to get those kind of chances, actually.
It's the only own goal the Hounds have been the beneficiaries of this season, in fact. Max Lakowecki. This one a little prettier as Kenardo Forbes finds his Jamaican countryman, Gene, right in front. Parks with the bury.
Kenardo Forbes has been a terrific player in the midfield, very dynamic, a number of great assists, and Romeo Parks, good first touch, and finished off the play.
Yeah, 1 of 7 for Forbes in terms of assists. This is 1 of 4 Joe Cole goals, and, well, easily the one that he was most surprised by. Paul, you see that one squirt through, and Tampa Bay is able to earn a draw. They've been very different on the road, though, as you see these numbers. Dynamic at home, but away, they're having a hard time even putting the ball in the net once.
Yeah, they're really struggling at the moment on the road, and you know, we'll see tonight. Maybe they'll try and change things around, but obviously the Hounds have got to jump all over this statistic and do something about it and get back on the scoreboard.
It's an advantageous schedule for the Riverhounds here in August. 4 of 6 at home. This is their 4th in their past 5 that'll be here on the banks of the Mon. And, Gene, they could have easily had a goal if one of these Kenardo Forbes setups were buried against Charlotte on Saturday.
Well, you see this one in, I think, the 3rd minute of the game, and and here we go. Kenardo Forbes again flicks it over to Dover, and a great save by Andrew Dykstra.
Dykstra getting the clean sheet. Forbes, hard to get on him for what he did in the attacking midfield for the Riverhounds. That first chance you saw might have been the best ball of the year. Nico Brett, we're not used to seeing him not finish those off, but Forbes has been a veteran presence for the Riverhounds, played for Bob Lilly the past several years up in Rochester. Well, that's the setup. What's going to happen in 90 minutes time? I guess we'll find out together here on ESPN Plus. It's Pittsburgh, it's Tampa, it's the USL. Stay with us.
Now, where does it hurt the most? When you have it all the way straight?
Down
in there.
It started really hurting, and it would really hurt if I like stood on it.
It's a little patellar tendonitis, or jumper's knee is the other thing.
How's that feel?
It feels better.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
Forbes has an open man. Jamaican to Jamaican. And Brett buries it. Nico Brett, beautiful.
Catch the action at Highmark Stadium as the Riverhounds battle for a home playoff position. On September 7th, the Bethlehem Steel FC roll into town for a special Friday matchup. Gates open at 5:30 p.m., $1 beers until kickoff. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
Visiting Tampa Bay is winless in 4. Hometown Pittsburgh hasn't lost in 4. And here's the starting 11s for both sides tonight on ESPN+. Stefano Bonomo and Georgi Hristov are 2 high-octane forwards at the top of this formation. And as we see with the Riverhounds, well, maybe a different type of a formation with Vankiazil back on the back line. We've seen this already before, gentlemen, but with Luban in the place of Ray Lee on the left flank in the midfield, or as a wing back, whatever you want to classify him as, that's a different look for sure, isn't it?
No, I think we'll see Vankiazil drop deep to start the attacks, Matt, and I think we'll also see him push forward to get underneath and help in the midfield a little bit. So a lot of versatility in the Riverhound lineup, and we'll also looking forward to seeing Luban and Jordan Dover give us a lot of flank play.
And let's not forget Nico Brett, the lone forward, 13 goals, 1 off the USL lead. The chase for the Golden Boot is red hot currently as we head toward the end of August, and this is our 5th and final Wednesday match of the season at Highmark Stadium. The Tampa Bay Rowdies pay their 3rd ever visit into Highmark, last year as a member of the USL, and 3 years ago in the US Open Cup as Francois on the move, trying to test his man Diakite, but he tried to put it in the middle for Brett, and it's broken up.
Francois did very well there. Good touch on the ball and then knocked it across. His player he was playing the ball to wasn't quite aware of it, so didn't quite connect.
Bit of a pattern there, Paul. The last few games, the Riverhounds have started with a dangerous attack in the first minute or so.
Yeah, with a bang, and that's where Nico Brett, we'd love to see him get his chances like he did in the last game against Charlotte.
That 0-0 draw against Charlotte, the 6th scoreless draw of the season for the Riverhounds. 4 of those have come at home. If you're going to have those, you want them to be on the road. You want to entertain the home fans, I think. That's just my opinion. But the Hounds still doing quite well, of course, and still have just lost 3 times overall in the season, twice at home with a record of 7-2-4 as this is out of play. Georgi Hristov, 33-year-old Bulgarian, with 148 appearances for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. He couldn't save that one in, so Jordan Dover gets the throw. Brett on the ball. I'm Matt Geica with Paul Child. He's the most recent other voice you heard, and Gene Klein is alongside as well. We're at Highmark Stadium. The sun has come out, and it's downright brisk considering how hot this summer's been.
Yeah, really, it's a different weather for the boys, so I would imagine to see them a lot more quicker, sharper, and hopefully creating some chances here.
Well, Tampa should be quicker and at the very least have those nice legs because they have been off for 10 days. They're working on some things under their first-year manager, Neil Collins, 34 years old. First year doing this. Took over midseason, in fact. Bob Lilly coaches the Hounds as this ball is dumped right in on Mike Kirk, making his 2nd consecutive start in the place of injured starter Dan Lind, who's out with facial fractures. Could be back in a couple of weeks. I guess we'll get an update as the month progresses, as we get closer to September. That injury was suffered at Bethlehem a couple of Sundays ago. Jordan Dover receives this one under heavy pressure from Hunter Gorski. And Kirk, who has good foot skills, according to Coach Lilly, and also his goalkeeping specialist, Hunter Gilstrap, on staff, former Hounds keeper himself.
And I think with Mike Kirk in a goal, he's well prepared. Hunter's a top-notch goalkeeper coach, and we saw in the last game against Charlotte, Mike Kirk was very confident, very composed, and no drop off at all with the loss of Dan Lind.
Here's Forbes trying one, and a sliding block by one of the Tampa defenders helps clear it out. That was Diakite.
That was a little bit of a tweener. It was kind of a shot and a cross combination, and he was looking for anybody to try and get on the end of that one because he didn't really get it on target.
We'll take an extra glance at that. We just spoke about Kenardo Forbes and how he's been the Hounds playmaker. He was picking out Brett, cutting to the 6-yard line, it appeared. Never got through. The Hounds were called for a foul, by the way. That leads to the Tampa restart. Both of these teams, you could argue, should have more goals on the year. They're right near the bottom third of the league in conversion rate on their shot attempts.
Yeah, and you look, it's a good point, Matt, because you look at both sides. I mean, you know, just looking at the Tampa lineup with Histroff and Bonomo up top, who are quality strikers, and of course, you know, their key guy, their captain, and their schemer in the midfield is Joe Cole, who everybody knows from his days with Chelsea in the EPL. So, and we know he can finish for sure.
Leo Fernandez with the step up. Yes, we haven't even mentioned Joe Cole in this early moments of the match. 36 years old, 400+ Premier League appearances. He has a long resume, obviously, as you know, if you've followed soccer for the past decade plus.
Yeah, I got to agree there. He was a great player. I loved to watch him play when he was playing with Chelsea, and really worked his butt off for those clubs, and I'm sure he'll do it here as well, being as he's a captain.
56 caps for the English national team, 10 goals in those appearances, 3 World Cups, 3 Premier League championships, 3 FA Cups, 1 Champions League runner-up.
Yeah, great plus to have him here in the USL, have him in the league, and great for the fans of Pittsburgh to be able to see a player of Joe Cole's caliber.
He tried to get something started there, did Cole, but then Bonomo overran the play, and then Bonomo is now fouled by Forbes, who has a protest for the referee Marcos de Oliveira.
Yeah, Dover got tangled up there a little bit with his feet, and it was a shame, really, because he had some space in front of him, and he could have made something happen.
Getting back to Joe Cole quickly, 4 goals, 1 assist on the season. Had a goal against the Hounds back in May. 2nd most minutes on the team, so he's not slowing down in that regard. He's a workhorse for this squad. Close to a handball there in the corner, and just like that, Bonomo's won a corner kick.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the last time Joe Cole was in Pittsburgh is when Chelsea played Roma, and I think maybe 2004.
I was at that game over at Heinz Field, yeah.
Heinz Field, for sure.
Was that the first of those international exhibitions,
yes,
I feel?
Yeah.
For Pittsburgh, for sure.
Yeah, because Man City played the next one, I think.
Yes.
Against AC Roma.
AC Milan.
Yeah, was it?
Gene's got an encyclopedic memory here for that stuff. Well, we don't see those international clubs too often come in. We're happy to do that. Short corner taken here. Bonomo trying to settle it down, and eventually will now serve back toward the far side of the 6. It's in the area, and well, a swing and a miss, and then a bouncing shot in on Kirk, and he makes the stop.
Yeah, dangerous there for the Riverhounds. Some people open.
And the person it went to was Joe Cole.
It was.
We were just talking about him. He didn't really get a good chest on the ball, and it bounced away from him a little bit too far so he could get the shot off.
Yeah, I don't think
as you're going to see here.
There's Cole right there.
The Highmark turf gets the same bounce as Stamford Bridge.
No. Or Wembley.
It is a different game here. Players talk about it. Higher bounces, livelier skids. Even when it's not wet, when it's wet, it really does change. But even on a dry day like this one, Joe Cole couldn't quite handle, and that chance goes by the boards for the Rowdies, who haven't scored this month in 4 matches, or 3 matches, pardon me, plus some of another one against New York Red Bulls at home in late July.
Yeah, and you know, and the Rowdies certainly have to get going on the scoreboard. Like I said, they have the players. When you look at their lineup, they have the people that can certainly score some goals. But they're definitely going through a very, very difficult stretch right now. And you know, and now to come here in Pittsburgh, and then Saturday Cincinnati. So it's not getting any easier for them.
Dover was run through, and the Tampa player appears to have gotten the worst of it. Meanwhile, advantage is given by the referee. Forbes holds up, waiting. Ben Zemansky gets his first real touch on the ball. Zemansky, native of nearby Akron, Ohio, has it poked off his foot, and now we will get the stoppage that will allow the Rowdies to assess the damage.
Yeah, that was a strange one because he was the aggressor there and came off on the worst of the challenge.
Leo Fernandez is the man down. Apologies for the late ID. The white numbers and the white jersey don't quite jive, so there may be a few moments tonight where we have to pause for the identification, but it is Fernandez after Dover came up on a strong challenge. Fernandez, 3 goals, 2 assists, a part of this Tampa attack. Brazilian native, he's walking it off. The right leg appears to be the one giving him some problems. Meanwhile, Jordan Dover, who was uber aggressive against Charlotte on Saturday, didn't generate anything, but he could have easily had an assist on a potential Nico Brett goal. Now Forbes playing it square, a good one to slide it through the defending.
Yeah, he did well to get that cross in there because there was 3 players in between him and the 6-yard box, and got it through some way, and nobody on the end of it.
Joe Greenspan tapped it right back in on his keeper, Kirk. Strong left foot from Kirk, native of Mechanicsburg, PA, on the eastern side of the state. Forbes, look at that volley. It's a solid one for Brett. He thinks that perhaps Afrim Taku handled it, but not according to the referee, De Oliveira. He allows play to continue on, and this aimless ball will be gathered up by Greenspan, or maybe he'll just let it go. He will.
Yeah, he really didn't have much choice there. That he defended there, knocking the ball into space. It was the wise thing to do, just hoping that maybe somebody could get on the end of that, but went to nobody, and now it's Riverhounds throwing.
Yeah, and impressed with both sides so far, Paul.
Yeah.
The tempo is very good. I mean, they're coming out. Both teams are coming to play. Tampa's pressing some people forward in their 3-5-2. Often we see teams dropping off and playing a very low line, at least, and starting very cautiously here. And what you're seeing right away, it appears that Tampa is not hesitating to go forward and try to put the Hounds under pressure, and the Riverhounds are doing the same versus Tampa.
Fernandez tried to slide one through. Vonkiazio on the breakup. Now Ben Zemansky leads the counter, albeit briefly. Man they call Kenny, Canardo Forbes, wearing the captain's armband. Switches play up for Cristiano Francois, number 7. Francois guiding it back across. Dover has a look. Jordan Dover, a couple of men in the box for him, and said he'll play it on the overlap for Forbes. Can he save it? He did, apparently, according to the assistant referee, but Vonkiazio unable to control.
Yeah, that was a nasty bounce for him there. He couldn't do much with that ball.
We're seeing that terrific combination with Dover and Canardo Forbes. We saw that a lot against Charlotte. They know how to combine with each other. They have confidence to find each other and really try to get behind the back line.
Yeah, they do have a chemistry for sure, Gino. It seems like they really understand where they're going to run and where they're going to get behind players and try these flick over the top of the defenders and get in behind and then get the crosses in.
The Hounds on the backtrack here is Bonomo, formerly of New York Red Bulls 2. Wanted a volley through for Georgi Ristov, Tampa Bay Rowdies modern-day legend there. Ristov, a real fan favorite down at Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete. Here's Ristov on the run, but he won't have a prayer of catching that against Vonkiazio, who got the head start. Kirk up into the air. Forbes the header.
And once again, Matt, we're seeing Vonkiazio at another spot. So he's playing pretty much on the right side in the 3-man back line with Dover ahead of him a little bit. On Saturday with Charlotte, we saw him more central. So Bob Lilly does not hesitate to put Vonkiazio wherever he feels that he needs him. I think he kind of likes Vonkiazio's matchup with Bonomot here, Paul, or Ristov. Either one, because they're switching around.
Toby Adewale is back in the lineup. He collided over on far side with Bonomo, and no call was made there. Tampa Bay in a tough spot. Several points out of the playoff zone in the East. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, 5 points back, or pardon me, 8 points back now of Cincinnati for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Still 2 matchups to go against Cincy, so the Hounds do control some of that.
Don't we have a couple of games in hand as well, Matt? Yeah.
1 game in hand
just
on
one
Cincinnati, yes.
And still, however you look at it, it's been a terrific season all around for the Riverhounds. I mean, they are pushing Cincinnati. They're right up there with them, and I think what we have seen is that they have the quality to compete with anybody in this league.
2-2 draw at Cincy, the only previous league matchup between the two. There's a strong clear by Tarek Morad, one of the newer Tampa Bay Rowdies. They've brought in 9 new players since the coaching change. Stuart Campbell out, Neil Collins in. In fact, Neil Collins went from a defender position to the manager's spot in the middle of the year.
Yeah, the Hounds definitely are in contention this year, Gino. I think they've just improved so much and have been doing so well, and very hard to play against at home, as we know, because they don't get scored on too often. And if they can create the chances and start getting on the scoreboard again, I think we've got a real good shot at getting to the top of the league.
I mean, I got to think that Cincy and Pittsburgh are definitely, from the east side, we are the teams to beat.
Yeah.
This is just a solid Pittsburgh team all the way around. There aren't any really weak spots. So it's going to go down to the wire for them for sure.
Ben Zemanski will take this
I'm looking
free
for
kick.
Greenspan here, but
Swinging it in a little bit too low and into traffic, and headed clear by Gorski.
Yeah, not a great delivery from Ben. He could.
Well,
you don't call it against Bonomo there.
Referee said it was his shoulder. I don't know how that happened, but sometimes the referees make mistakes.
It's a game of mistakes for players and officials and broadcasters sometimes. Very rarely.
I've never heard you like treat those referees so kindly.
He's a changed man, Paul Child.
I think it's
mellowing out.
It's coming with age.
Adewale with the clear for Pittsburgh. And to that point, the only season in Hounds history that can really match up with this one so far is 2004 when they went 17-2-1. But beyond that, pretty rarefied air to have just 3 losses here in match number 24.
Yeah, and that was a terrific team back then. Ricardo Iribarren was the coach, and they went on a great run. And I think ended up losing in the final or in the semis when they had to take about a 30-yard bus ride or something. You know, so but different league at that point, you know, and
that was the A-League, right?
Yeah, not only the USL, but just the game in this country has progressed so much over the last few years, and we've seen such great strides in the USL. So for the Riverhounds to be really, I think, one of the teams to beat in the league is a tremendous testament to what the entire organization has done to try to push the game forward in Pittsburgh.
It's a good memory there, Gene. Sorry about that, Paul. There was a bus ride to Utah involved in 2004.
All right.
Wow. To face the Utah Blitz. It was a 1-0 loss for the Hounds in the semifinal round.
I knew it was somewhere out there in the mountains.
That was after defeating hated Harrisburg in a 2-game quarterfinal series.
Yeah, they must have been strapped for a little bit of money at that time, Gino, to go on a bus, don't you think?
I think so, Paul. That was.
And they had to use their own vehicles too.
That was the day they used the gate to pay for the bus, you know.
Hunter Gorski drives one up into the Hounds end of the field, and this is out for a goal kick. But yeah, returning to present day, it's easy to get caught up in the chase for first. The players keep talking about that, but overall, a Hounds team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2015, hasn't had a home playoff game in the Highmark Stadium era.
That's a startling statistic right there, Matt. I mean,
and that's what's so important, though, isn't it, Gino? I think the fans here, we need to know, you know, the fans need to know that the teams here we got a strong franchise, and get behind them and support them.
And we can see, looking at the standings, I mean, some quality sides there with Charleston and Louisville, FC Cincinnati, and everybody's pretty tight. Cincinnati, the front runner right now, but I think anybody in that top 4 is capable of winning the division.
Vonkie Azil's ball goes unreceived by Brett, who was protesting for a call. And a top 4 position, just to be clear, top 4 gets you a home playoff game in the first round of the USL playoffs, which will start in mid-October. Top 2 would guarantee a couple of home games if they could win the first one. Dabo rising against Joe Cole. And those standings, you saw Bethlehem Steel, they were in 7th when the Hounds played them a couple of weeks ago. Now they're in 5th. They already won today. They played a 5 o'clock match against Ottawa. So the Steel putting their hat in the ring, at least for a top 4 spot.
Oh, that's
in
a
a
nice
home match.
pass.
There's a great ball from Dover. A cut back from Forbes. He still has it. Wanted to slide it through legs. Brett, can he tee it up? He cannot.
There's that combination with Dover and Forbes we talked about again, Paul, and they're giving him a lot of difficulty on that left flank.
Joe Greenspan won that ball.
Defenders a real hard time there with these combinations and 1-2s and little flicks over the top, and they get in behind and then create havoc.
A side swipe from Greenspan as he stepped to. knocked down Stefano Bonomo. And Greenspan standing there said a few words to Bonomo to check on him.
He's probably telling him to get up.
Could be. He's patting him on the back, give him some encouragement. And we see Georgi Ristov come over for a drink and a chat with Greenspan, who's a solid head taller than his opponent there. He's a solid head taller than most, is Big Joe.
That's for sure. And Bob Lilly giving his instructions here. He's got 3 or 4 players over here.
Forbes and Funky Azil getting the brief instruction from Bob Lilly. Assistant coaches Mark Pulisic and Dan Visser out there.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, he just came down.
Joe
really
Greenspan, and no foul there. He just, the way he came down with that, got a little bump. I mean, Joe Greenspan did very well to step inside of Stefano, and I think it's the way he came down with his leg.
Looks like he's in real pain too.
Yeah. This is trainer Andrew Keene out.
And again, it is an artificial surface, so when you come down, you know, you can, you never know what's going to happen sometimes if your cleats get stuck and your knee goes one way and your body goes the other.
Tampa can ill afford to lose another potential score. They dropped the 2-0 decision in North Carolina. They drew 0-0 against Charleston. Those were both at home. They lost 2-0 to Ottawa. That's the extent of their August schedule, and you're right, Paul, he is struggling.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to make a change here. They're calling somebody in.
There's no way he could play on with the way he's just walking or trying to walk off.
What that look like to you, Paul? An ankle, I thought he just
I think it's his knee. Do you know? I think it's his left knee.
Oh, a chance to remind you that Select is the official ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping, in fact, on orders over $50. And slowly is Bonomo walking off with the help of Keene.
Game's been pretty even so far, Gino. I think, you know, we talked about it at the beginning about only having 3 defenders. Tampa, after, you know, losing 4. And it seems like that they haven't hesitated to just go at teams and think that they can.
And it's a pretty even matchup, isn't it? The way they're playing in the back and the way we are.
Yeah.
So, you know, the matchup I think is going to be, you know, what's going to happen in the midfield is you know, Joe Cole, Taco, you know, Fernandez. Is that group going to be able to contain the Canardo Forbes and the Francois, and are they going to be able to get behind, penetrate, etc.? So we'll see how the game goes. And for Tampa, can Joe Cole and company, can they get control of it a little bit more and find the space, find the pockets that they need to combine and get behind the Riverhounds back line?
Nico Brett was clipped right at the corner of the penalty area. Now Greenspan taps down a bounding ball. The Riverhounds have not generated a shot on target yet. That means Daniel Vega, the new signing out of Argentina, has not been tested. He just finished the season with Miami of the NPSL.
Bonomo went back in, which didn't look like there was any chance that he was going to. And now he's gone back in and sat down on the ground again. You know,
I don't think this is going to work.
No.
Stefano Bonomo, 25 years old from California, formerly of Red Bulls 2. The name sounds familiar, that's why. And to check Neil Collins's sheet to see who's an option, perhaps, to go in.
That was strange, really, because just the way he was coming off, it looked like that there was no way he was going to continue. And maybe the coach just said,
I don't know if
get back in there, you know.
Well, or are they trying to kill some time to get somebody in the game and get them warmed up?
Maybe, too.
Yeah, it looks like it's Leon Taylor that they're trying to get ready.
Leon Taylor is available, so is Sebastian Guenzati and Junior Flemings, who I'm surprised isn't starting. He was dynamic in recent matches for Tampa Bay, coming close to getting goals. Fleming's 4 goals and a team-high 3 assists, but Taylor has 3 goals as well. 25-year-old out of the state of Texas, and yes, he appears to be the one that Neil Collins will send over the touchline. So that's it for Stefano Bonomo. He's out in the 23rd minute. In checks Leon Taylor.
Yeah, difficult break for Tampa Bay. Don't want to lose a player like Bonomo of his quality, but an opportunity for Leon Taylor to see what he can do.
Well, the linesman got that one wrong. Got deflected by a Riverhound, and he gave it to Hounds, so we got away with one right there.
The Riverhounds still have possession. Dover's second throw in a quick succession. Brett tapped it off, he thought, the hip of the defender in front of him, Morad, but it does not go detected if it did happen.
I looked to the linesman, and the referee looked to the linesman, but
this is Sam Reynolds on the near side, Ross Kleinstuber on the far. And if there is a chance of a touch, there might have been, as we glance at the second look. So there's Daniel Vega with the goal kick. 34 years old, just won the NPSL title with Miami, formerly of the North American Soccer League, much like the Rowdies. While the Rowdies found safe haven in the USL, Miami had to drop down to Division III play. That's where Vega has come from. No Cody Mizell, who's been the starter for much of the year.
Two players over here on the right, Dover and Forbes again, wide open, signaling for the switch of play, but not taking the chance.
Yeah, and interesting, Paul. Dover is the one that's narrow, and Conrado Forbes is out here wide. Yeah. It's normally, as Conrado Forbes is the right back, he'd provide the width, and we'd like to see Kenny Forbes come in the middle to connect with Ben Zemansky and play off Nico Brett. So they do flip it off, and like I said, there's a chemistry. They know where each other is, and they play off each other very well.
They do. They work together really well.
Andrew Luban getting a few touches of the ball here, nearly squirted away from him. Ristoff was on the pressure. Now Mohamed Dabo, who started for the last 5 now for the Riverhounds in the holding midfield spot. Greenspan wants to find Forbes, who heads it crisply off to Dover. Now Forbes, he's sent sprawling by Fernandez on the collision. Then Fernandez breaks it up with Thomas Vankiazil pushing hard.
He does very well to get it out of that trouble.
Yeah, they did well there. Yeah. But, referee not calling that push in the back there. I was a little bit surprised and let it go on.
26 minute. Ristoff falls down as Zemansky got tangled with him. And Cheetah Francois with the ball. Barely keeps it in play. Over on the far flank. This cross will go begging. No one home on the backside post.
I don't think Francois really looked up there, did he?
He didn't know.
Just knocked that one in.
And that's a shame because, you know, we know he can do that really well. And we usually see him take the ball into the edge of the box and take a cracking shot. But right there, he just didn't check out who was out there, and there was nobody there.
That has been his best look for the season, hasn't it? Like he cuts inside, he goes towards that right side of the defender or the central defender if he can, and it forces the back line of the opposition to really make some decisions on what they're going to do with him, who's going to pick him up, and it frees guys on the back post. So we'll look to see that a lot more throughout the game.
Luban head up, but couldn't get it through Murad, who's been very active here. Signed out of really doing nothing. He was at his home country of Egypt.
Whoops.
He played last year for Louisville, and well, now he's gotten the counterattack going for Tampa Bay, but no connection there from Vingard to Joe Cole, and the Riverhounds take it right back. Swarming defending by the Hounds. That's been their signature this year.
And you can see there too, Matt, you know, Zvankiel really didn't do very well with that ball, but straight away once he lost possession, he was right back on it like you know, a crazy dog and going to win that ball back. And here goes Francois, we were talking about. He's not really getting the openings there that he likes to get a shot off, so he's knocking it wide after he comes in.
The Hounds have Dabo and Luban now playing catch as Tampa Bay has dropped 9 back behind the ball.
They're really dropped deep, and
Zemansky maybe can create something. Francois over the crossbar out of nowhere.
That was nice to see there. He hit that one from a dead ball situation, not on the move, and really caught a hold of that. And he was dipping, but it was a little bit over the bar before it started going down.
Well, he has the 2 highlight reel strikes this year. If the Hounds have
what he likes to do, and just come inside there and have that, and definitely similar to one of his highlight reel shots, Matt, that you mentioned.
Twice he's burned keepers from distance.
And you can see there's a lot of power on that shot, Gino, because the ball's not even moving. It's just still.
He really struck that one clean, just couldn't get it down a little bit. And the Riverhounds really making it difficult for Tampa. They're squeezing the field a little bit. We see how
that's a great ball.
Deep one. Will this check up? No, it won't.
Yeah. Not enough space for Nico Brett to run onto that one.
Yeah.
Trying to squeeze that one through.
This surface too. You could see when the ball hit, it bounced probably twice as normal and couldn't get to it.
Just 2 wins on the road for Tampa all year. They've been shut out 7 times away from Al Lang Stadium. The Riverhounds have allowed 2 goals, period, in league home matches this season. They allowed 3 to Cincinnati in U.S. Open Cup play, but other than that, it has been a fortress here for Pittsburgh on the defensive side, and having to move that ball quickly was Dabo. And he did. Zemansky dispatched it. Tampa back in possession. Tampa had 63% possession in the team's first meeting this year. It's one of the worst performances for the Hounds in that regard. They came out of there with a 2-2 tie back in May. Speaking of possession, the Riverhounds had 72% against Charlotte. That's their best. That came on Saturday here in a 0-0 draw.
And that was kind of what I'd mentioned earlier that Tampa is not doing, but Charlotte played very, very cautious. They dropped their line very deep and just really try to make it as difficult as possible for the Riverhounds to penetrate them. And then, of course, Tampa had a guy red carded, so that made it even worse for them. Or not Tampa, pardon me, Charlotte.
I think it ended up being worse for the Hounds. Gino, it seemed like we kind of took the foot off the gas, thinking
after the card,
after we having an extra man, and sometimes it works that way when you're playing. You start thinking, well, I don't have to work so hard. I've just got to look for the easy stuff, and it kind of like fizzles away from you. And Charlotte did really well, and they were used to it as well. They've been in situations 6 times during the season.
Yeah, that's right. We did. Yeah, Charlotte had been in that predicament quite a few times. So.
The Hounds are one of just 3 teams without a red card this season. They have not played shorthanded at all. It's them and Penn FC and FC Cincinnati with 0.
Don't be jinxing us there.
I live to inform.
And again, we see, mentioned it seemed like in the first 10-15 minutes, Tampa was coming out very high and trying to push the game. Now they're sitting deep.
Packing it.
Yeah, their back 3 has become a back 5 once the Hounds get it in the Tampa half. Their strikers are letting the Riverhounds have it in their half, and they're dropping. The line of confrontation is pretty much about 10 yards into the half, past the halfway line. So they're making a little bit, getting a little more conservative, and maybe try to catch the Hounds on a counter.
There was Leon Taylor, the substitute. He was getting up in the grill of Mohamed Dabo. There's a rare run up the field from Toby Adewale, and he puts a one-hopper on Vega, who has to gobble it up. Toby, where'd that come from? The Hounds number 2 typically stays back away from the attack. Not there.
It's nice to see, though, because I think sometimes you got to do that. You know, we need somebody to pick the game up and take the chances, and it was good to see him go here and have a shot at it.
No, absolutely, Paul. I was just about to say, with them dropping that deep, that's how you can open it up a little bit, because you force guys to step up, make some decisions, or get the ball wide and try to get some serves in behind. So I think they're going to need to do that a little more. We saw the long-distance shot from Francois earlier, now Adewale. So, you know, if Tampa's going to drop that deep, they're going to have to do some things to try to draw them out.
Toby Adewale, 1 goal on the year, but it came off a header in the box. It was more of the type of goal you see a center back score off a set piece. That time a little different. Like you guys said, refreshing to see him take the aggressive path. Vankiaziel frustrated Brett with that ball, who was cutting back toward it as opposed to down.
Himself, I think.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't want to read his mind.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with it, and obviously I'm sure he heard something from Bob Lilly, because he was close to the bench there too.
Yeah, and I think the Hounds got to circulate the ball a little bit better than that, you know, and just rather than just trying to start it from the back line and knock it up to Nico, who's by himself with 3 defenders.
Yeah, he's not going to win any of those balls in the air, as we know that, Gino. Very rarely, 1 out of in a game maybe, but not the biggest target play.
No, and you know, and Ben Zemanski's playing underneath him, and you know, and Ben's not the prototypical quick little number 10 who's going to be running off the ball a little bit. He's going to stay behind. He's going to try to distribute. He's going to try to connect the lines, and you don't want to catch Nico up by himself. Although he certainly, with this guy on the ball, Canardo forms, he can find it and he can break a line very easily.
Taylor coming hard against Dabo again, and Zemanski has it stripped after Vingard ran into him. Foul against the Hounds here after the Rowdies turned it up the pitch. Ball in hand, Dominic Oruro, who trialed with the Riverhounds this spring. Came up in the Man City youth system. Native of Ghana, Oruro, wearing number 29, and puts the ball down. He's going to let Murad have a look at it. And there you see Neil Collins, 34-year-old Scotsman, transitioning from player to coach in the middle of the season. Not the easiest assignment, and Tampa's only got a couple of wins for him since he started. Greenspan holding off a couple of bodies there in the box. That allows Mike Kirk to absorb that free kick.
Yeah, a bit of a waste there because Tampa hasn't been in that end of the field too often, and there was an opportunity to get it probably to the top of the D and have a flick on by somebody, but obviously overhit it.
Yeah, and you're not gonna get much off those straight vertical balls, you know, especially when you have Joe Greenspan back there who's 6'6" or whatever. So yeah, they have to be a little bit more creative than that.
Lubon is being pressured here by Taylor, and the ball squirts loose to Tampa Bay. The Rowdies were in the green and white. Not quite the traditional uniform we're used to seeing, the green and gold. Still one of the better looking uniforms out there. There's a foul with
still the traditional hoops for the for Tampa. But.
Yeah, I do enjoy the uniform. They have that signature style. That is Oruro down, by the way, after the foul committed by Pittsburgh. One of the stat themes that I noticed researching this game earlier this week is both the Hounds and Tampa don't commit a lot of fouls. Zemanski and Oruro and Lubon just got a piece of the foot.
Yeah, Lubon is just a little bit late, and I think he stepped on Oruro, and that created the foul. So we see another ball played into Joe Greenspan.
And he takes care of it, doesn't he? And
I think
Francois now will have a chance to run.
And this
is what he loves to do. He's right in there for a deflected shot from just outside the arc. And again, Vega has to go down to a knee to handle it. He's upset at his defenders for backing in a little too much.
I think it was good. It was a good job. His defender got a deflection on that one because he changed gear there, Francois. If you can see it, look at this. He
slows it down. He really accelerates off that touch.
Easy for the keeper to say. He's one of the tougher players, Francois, to corral in this entire league.
Well, that's vintage Francois, what we've seen all year. I mean, give him that ball where he has a little bit of space, and he starts running at defenders, and they're forced to backpedal. Like I said earlier, Paul, they have to make a decision, like who's stepping, who's going. Yeah. And that's a tough one. And if you're dropping off, then you're giving him the space to shoot.
Yep.
It was Hunter Gorski who Francois blew by on that replay. Made him cross his feet over, and then it was trouble.
I think Francois is pushing up a little bit more now, Gino. He seems to be like parallel with Nico, and
Kirk playing a long ball, and again over the head of Brett, who hasn't had much service.
Nico really has nobody within 10 yards of him to even if he can get the ball, to lay it off to somebody like a number 10 player we're talking about. Like it seemed just that too much of a space between them.
No, I think they have to be a little bit more patient and circulate the ball a little bit more to get those numbers around the ball in that attack third. The long balls where Nico has to deal with it by himself. I mean, yes, he has the pace to get behind guys. There's no question about it. But there's not a lot of support as we see Francois.
He wants it back, and he can't get it back. A tip pass from Andrew Lubon, and the Hounds can't connect. Tampa wants to go quickly and directly, but not accurately. Ristoff just runs toward the Hounds dugout and has to pull up. That one's out of bounds.
If you watch Bob Lilly, he just comes out of there and just holds his hands out like this. Is what's going on, guys. You know, you've got to start getting it together and making some combinations and stop giving this ball away. And
yeah, and I really think with Tampa starting to sit back and make no question, they've stayed very organized. I mean, Collins has them very well organized. They obviously have a set plan of what they want to do. Their lines are pretty tight. I think we need to see more of Dover and LeBon on the flanks to try to open them up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too, and pushing up a little bit more, Gino.
Yeah, like right there with LeBon, like doesn't even look, and he has 15 yards of space that he can at least go.
And he's gone backwards again.
Yeah, and draw Tampa out.
Meanwhile, Dover looked frustrated as he gave that ball away about 20 seconds ago. He has a second crack at it with help from the French rookie, Thomas Van Kiezeel. Dover, the Canadian, now to Greenspan on the back line. Switches play, Lubon from nearby Erie, PA. Just taps it right back to Adewale. Hounds get a little stagnant now here. Tampa Bay, 7 men behind the ball at the moment. Francois wants to challenge. He has 2 men in front of him. Working the combination here. Brett comes out of the pack with it.
And one of the things we're seeing is Joe Cole is stepping up now trying to chase those guys, and I don't think Tampa wants to be in that predicament. Because,
I don't think he wants to do that.
Well, right. Yeah, I mean.
Tommy V off to Dover. Forbes, Dover. And Zemansky. I was playing the quick pass game at the moment. Forbes will get to this one from Greenspan, a well-weighted ball that's blocked by Vingard.
And hits him on the way out.
And it did hit Forbes, so Riverhounds can't catch a break on that one. It'll be a throw for Leo Fernandez as we tick past 40 minutes gone in this one. It feels like it's flown by here in the first half.
Yeah, it really has.
Tampa playing an organized game. The Riverhounds looking for the key to unlock it. We have seen scoreless draws at the half at Highmark Stadium. It feels like almost every time the Hounds have played at home, it's been that score.
I was about to say that's this scenario we have seen once or twice. So now we see LeBron running, but
he did take on Joe Cole over there. Now Francois against Cole. Lubon on the flank, dispossessed. Gorski took it away. Leonard Gorski making the play. Leader in minutes and appearances for Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah, Gorski and Diakite, I mean, they've, Murad, they've been pretty tight, very solid, and stayed compact and connected, making it, again, denying space for Nico Brett and anyone else supporting. The only times we have really, the Riverhounds have been dangerous is when Francois has had a little room to run.
Now look, you can see Dover here, but he's got Nico Brett and nobody else really looking like they want it other than Lubon.
Now there's Lubon.
Lubon will take it here. And missed connection with Francois.
I mean, I think that's a good switch there, and then once they get it over there, Lubon has to put on the jets and run out.
Yeah, he's got to take charge, and you don't have to give it to Francois every time. I mean, that's where I was saying earlier, you know, it'd be good to see some of these defenders have got to take it and just go with it and make something happen.
And for Tampa, they're keeping it tight, and you know, even playing with 2 strikers, they really haven't been able to combine with them and get anything off the attack.
Yeah.
Can the Hounds press here for a goal at the end of the half? Forbes. And Dover, the ball spins away from him. We've seen this play before, this scenario. Now Van Kiezeel comes up, though. Serves a volley toward the spot that's headed clear by Cole. And pounded out of there by Christoph. Greenspan leans on Taylor to keep the Rowdies pinned in, albeit briefly. Now Adewale is going to have to go back against Taylor, who ran right through him, and another foul against the Rowdies. That is Taylor getting overzealous on the pursuit of the aerial duel.
Well, the referee letting that go. He's about 20 yards.
I thought I heard a whistle, but apparently not.
I did too, and it's in the Tampa coaching staff.
He took a free kick, but he let him take it.
Okay, it was just one of those rolling free kicks.
Yeah.
That was the quickest of restarts, I would say.
Oh,
Zemansky's there. He turns, Plays it back. Lubon's going to take a touch, a bit heavy, but he recovers. Dabo, now the Riverhounds buzzing a bit.
Yeah, terrific for the Hounds right here, and here's Francois.
Francois, well served. Forbes right on, and Vega got his knees in the way. First corner kick of the match for Pittsburgh upcoming.
Yeah, much better from the Riverhounds there. That's the combinations and the flow of play that I think we need in that part of the field. And you know, and we saw.
Was that Forbes with the shot?
It was.
He hit that really, really well.
Yeah.
Keeper did well not to get nutmegged on this one, actually, and he got his legs together at the near post. And
he did well. He came over very quickly and had the ankle cut down and stayed big, and Forbes couldn't get it past him.
There was some room. A lot of steam on that shot from Forbes.
This is where you got to get Greenspan into this, I think, Gino, where, you know, that 6'6" frame.
They're going to look for him.
They tried. He had 2 or 3 opportunities for headers, but couldn't direct them on cage against Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Vankiazil's the other one.
Former Akron Zit, Ben Zemansky has the corner, and it's intercepted in the air by Christoph. And out it goes, at least to the edge of the attacking third for Pittsburgh. Now 45th minute. Boy, Neil Collins is losing his mind on the Tampa Bay bench at the moment, as that's given away by Brett. He was trying to slice a ball through.
Zemansky with the corner kicks too, Gino.
Went down.
It's not really getting him up in the air, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hitting.
Yeah, he hasn't beat the first defenders.
No, the first defenders are just getting them cleared. I mean, you got to get them into the box, into the danger zone, penalty spot, between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, where keeper can't make a decision, has got to stay in the net.
Yeah, I think Murad was looking for somebody came flying through on that one and nicked him in the face, and he was looking for some kind of call. Surprised only 2 minutes here. Huh? We've had 2 major stoppages.
At least the one for Bonomo.
Yeah.
It will be 2 only. And referee De Oliveira went over to the Tampa dugout and I think said something along the lines of, "I've heard enough" from over there.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they have not been happy on the Tampa bench, that's for sure.
Busy night in the USL despite the Wednesday. 4 other matches in the Eastern Conference. And a good way to keep up is via social media, Twitter @USL, and on Facebook, facebook.com/USL Soccer. All the scores and highlights. As again, the Hounds can't make it work.
It's a tough ball to do anything with. It was really a driven, bouncing ball. It wasn't like a...
It wasn't clean on the ground, was it?
No, he needed a nice crisp pass so he could at least control it.
Francois, the familiar cutback move. Burns call, does Francois. What's the cheetah going to do? He puts it off the head of Gorski. Bounces out toward those new river seats added this year at Highmark Stadium. The throw in from Francois finds Brett. He has Dabo. Big try! Bingo! Mohamed Dabo connects from the outside. Welcome to the good life, number 21. He was close a couple of matches ago, and he has the Riverhounds ahead in first half stoppage time.
Sprints to the bench.
Boy, he hit that really well with the outside of his right foot, and it just, I thought the keeper, he was going towards the keeper, and then he just swirled away from him, and he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, assistant coach Mark Pulisic must have been working with him all week, because he sprinted right over towards coach. And
what a
really
sizzler.
Well done.
What a sizzling shot from Mohamed Dabo.
And what a sizzling dance, by the way.
He was working on that with Coach Pulisic, too.
Well, yeah. What a great shot, just inside the post. Keeper couldn't do anything with it, and these beautiful dance.
Side netting. Vega didn't have a chance on, didn't have a prayer. 45+2 the time of that goal, and that essentially ends the first half. So the Riverhounds get the breakthrough. They'll get a chance to play from ahead in the second half. So that job is done. Still much to go from Highmark Stadium. Dabo brings the house down off the setup from Brett, who held it and picked out his man, number 21. A goal from outside the box, a rarity for the Riverhounds this season, too. So there you go, the Steel Army still recovering, smoke bombs blowing.
That's a really, really good time to get a goal, and
great time to get a goal. Yeah,
needed it desperately, because you know Tampa was just backing up, packing it in, and making it very difficult.
And now that'll change things for Tampa and tactics.
Yeah, this will change
they have to come out a little bit higher and push the game a little bit more.
Yep.
So we'll have more at halftime. What an electrifying way to go to the break, though. Flags are still flying. Mohamed Dabo, friends, that's his first professional goal, in addition to being his first for the Riverhounds. So what a strike. And we'll return for stats, highlights, news, and notes from around the USL. This is Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein. You're watching USL Soccer on ESPN+.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is Joyce's signature collection. We truly are jewelers. We're passionate about jewelry. We understand the process of making jewelry and what it takes to make the highest quality product at the best value. We travel the world to bring back and create the most unique diamond jewelry collection that you will find anywhere. If you've never shopped Joyce's, I personally invite you to visit our store. I know you're gonna love it.
At Joyce's.
I just want to make sure that I just do everything I can to just protect him and love him and just, you know, just be the best mom I can be.
Yeah. And with your first, you want to know the doctor because you want to be comfortable with them.
Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm at a baby factory.
Be like this.
The region's fastest growing labor and delivery program is at Allegheny Health Network.
Forbes has an open man. Jamaican to Jamaican. And buries it. Nico Brett, beautiful.
Catch the action at Highmark Stadium as the Riverhounds battle for a home playoff position. On September 7th, the Bethlehem Steel FC roll into town for a special Friday matchup. Gates open at 5:30 p.m., $1 beers until kickoff. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union.
Yeah,
the
that's
next
right.
generation.
Yeah. Well, we're still recovering from that thunderbolt off the foot of Mohamed Dabo. He struck from, oh goodness, it's got to be about 25 yards, beating Daniel Vega, the Tampa Bay keeper. And at 45+2 of the first half, we have our first goal of this one. I'm Matt Geica with Gene Klein and Paul Child. We'll get to the next games for these two teams, but first of all, guys, we did discuss how the Hounds might break down a very organized Tampa Bay unit. They were getting a lot of players behind the ball. And, well, Gene, we saw Toby Adewale step up, and then we saw Mohamed Dabo take the initiative.
Yeah,
there.
and we saw another couple shots from Cristiano Francois, but Paul and I were talking earlier how they were sitting so deep, and they need to find a way to open them up a little bit and draw them out. And when you're striking some shots like that and you have some clean hits on goal, that's the way to do it. And Dabo took them into the dressing room with the lead.
And he needed somebody different too, Gino. I mean, you can't depend on the forwards all the time. And you know, these defender and midfielder, you know, taking shots. And Dabo, you know, it was great to see him take charge and take a shot like that and tuck it away in that bottom left-hand corner.
We haven't seen that from him, but he saw an opening and hit it well, hit it clean, and well-deserved goal.
Yeah.
I can't recall which match it was. A few ago here at home, he had a look, might have been against Charleston, in fact, that he put a lot of foot into it, and I thought maybe that's something to look for down the line. Well, he converts, and Tampa's in a hole, and Tampa's been in trouble recently. They're going to have their work cut out for them at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati coming up here on Saturday, while the Hounds will be recuperating after a 2-game week. The Rowdies will just have 2 days off. They'll be down the Ohio River from here, and they'll be taking on the East top team. So it doesn't get much easier for a Rowdies team, just so hungry for points at the moment.
That's a tough road trip right now, and we've got to see what they're going to do in this second half too, because they've got to come out now, Matt, and create some chances to get back on the board, because obviously they've been in this situation the last 4 games, and they don't want to be in it at the end of this one.
Pardon me, I said it was at Cincinnati. It's actually tougher because they have to travel further to get back to Tampa to play Cincinnati on Saturday. So that might even be worse if you want to look at it that way, although Tampa has been better at home. And there you see that schedule. And as Paul was talking about, a 1-2 stretch, playing the second best team in the East and then the top team in the East for the Rowdies. And North Carolina, Charleston coming up on the road, another trip in the very near future.
And then 3 out of 4 after that on the road again. So it's tough for Tampa Bay.
Well, 1 week from tonight, the Riverhounds go to the road themselves. They'll have 6 of their final 10 on the road after this evening. And they'll be at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis to face Indy 11. There was a 0-0 draw between those two teams here in Pittsburgh back in May. Feels like ages ago. So there'll be that fixture, and then at Cincinnati. That's where I'm getting the Nippert Stadium thoughts from. As Pittsburgh will go in and face Cincy just before the turn to the new calendar page in September, when the Riverhounds will have 3 in a row at home. So yeah, it's been a nice schedule here in August, but at Indy, at Cincy, quite the challenge, much like what Tampa Bay has facing it.
No, absolutely, and the Riverhounds do have some good matches coming up at home, so a key home stretch for them with Bethlehem Steel, Louisville, and Indy 11.
And still yet to secure a playoff spot are the Hounds, so that'll be at the front of mind in September. Let's take a break here from beautiful Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh and look at the highlights from the previous week's action in the USL. Hounds 1, Rowdies 0 after 45. Back in a bit. I think they had that.
I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I'ma keep on climbing, I ain't gonna stop. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I'ma keep on climbing, I ain't gonna stop.
Thomasina Molson looking for number 14. There it is.
Cross comes in towards the back post, and Foster Langsdorff has his 11th goal this season.
The corner of the 18. Cross comes in, and a goal for Foster Langsdorff. It's his second of the evening. Into the box, a strike, and a goal. Christian Valesky. Guess who? Again, Valesky with his second. Slides it across, Michael Seaton. Seaton in on goal. Michael Seaton, he's at the brace.
Ledesma right at the edge of the 18, takes a shot, and Manu Ledesma does it again.
Now Spees gives it a go, and Spees finds the back of the net. Game of one-upsmanship from the Indy 11 this season. Rebound comes out though, and it's stuck right back in. And guess who? Solomon Asante. Chance now for St. Louis. Long overdue goal for Corey Herzog. Here's Carl Howarth, and the shot, and it is 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC.
Here's Zayden to strike. It hits the frame of the goal and goes in. Laid off to the path of Barry. He's onside, and he fires it home.
It'll be Gordon to strike with his right boot, hits it, and puts it in the back of the net.
To Velasquez. He'll take a crack through distance, and a goal. Chandler Hoffman redirects it for the goal.
Here's another opportunity. Dixon shot and a score.
Back to Corbin Bone. Bone inside of the 18. Buries it in the back of the net.
Still Belmar. Now into the area, Carlson Belmar. Losing his defender, Belmar. Shirley. Blackwood gets the goal. Great save by Kendall McIntosh. Shot getting a piece of it. What a save. Great stop by Dykstra. Oh, what a save by Vaughn Williams.
Cardoni with an impressive save.
A brilliant save.
Enriquez does it again. Great save for Stucco. Oh!
Back at Highmark Stadium, enjoying the action from the first half. Well, we've got some more games coming up for you on national television on ESPN3. It's our USL game of the week. Rio Grande Valley against San Antonio. That's the first one on the schedule after tonight. Rio Grande will also take on Phoenix Rising a week from that to start September. And then we stay out west. St. Louis and Real Monarchs. Real Monarchs trying to win the Western Conference in the regular season. Meanwhile, Nashville suddenly finds itself right on the borderline of the playoff zone in the Eastern Conference. They'll be taking on Tampa at home, and that's 4 weeks from tonight on September the 18th. All those matches on ESPN3, as you see right there. And you can access that via ESPN Plus and that streaming platform. Looking elsewhere on the upcoming schedule, just in the Eastern Conference, as that was pretty West heavy. Charleston Battery coming up on Saturday. They'll host New York Red Bulls too. Red Bulls just got a tie last night to stay in the playoff field. Battery has been hot, and they're right nipping at the heels of the Riverhounds for that second place spot. North Carolina FC and Charlotte, an all Tar Heel State matchup, and North Carolina trying to make some noise. Charlotte, as we saw in here, has been struggling to piece together some wins, so that'll be one to look forward to. Ottawa in the playoff zone. They'll try to keep it going against Penn FC. And there you see Nashville, which I mentioned. That's a key collision there against Bethlehem. Two teams right there. Well, with a couple of wins, either one could be in a really good spot in the Eastern Conference, and vice versa with the losses. Well, Dan Lind is no longer tied for the league lead in clean sheets. There you see Ottawa Fury keeper Max Crepeau has 12 now. And this is a busy week. Like I said, 9 midweek matches, 15 coming up on Sunday. That'll change some things in the standings. And it's been a strong year for attendance across the USL in general. There you see FC Cincinnati. They're leading that parade, the first to 350K after 27,000 showed up this past weekend. We'll see Cincinnati. The Hounds will see Cincinnati, in fact, in just a little bit. 1 week from Saturday, they'll get a chance to sample that Nippert Stadium atmosphere for the second time this season. One more break here at halftime, and back to take a look at that beautiful Mohamed Dabo goal and look ahead to the second half. Back in just a second on ESPN Plus.
Ow. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
That one a little bit.
A little bit right here?
Yeah, right there.
Well, it looks like we can treat this in just a cast. So is this your first time getting a cast?
Yes.
Does it feel nice?
Yeah, it feels nice.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburg, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburg.org.
Forbes has an open man. Jamaican to Jamaican. And buries it. Nico. Brett, beautiful.
Catch the action at Highmark Stadium as the Riverhounds battle for a home playoff position. On September 7th, the Bethlehem Steel FC roll into town for a special Friday matchup. Gates open at 5:30 p.m., $1 beers until kickoff. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Second half is moments away from commencing here in Pittsburgh. The Hounds up 1-0, and we'll reduce the first half highlights to Mohamed Dabo's stoppage time goal. And Brett with the drop back, and Dabo takes some confidence, doesn't it, gentlemen, to crack it from that distance, especially when you're a holding midfielder and you don't have a goal as a professional.
Yeah, I think it was brilliant from him, to be honest with you. It was a great situation, a great layoff, and it was the right thing to do, and you couldn't want for anything better at the end of the first half.
A great little layoff from Nico Brett, too, to find him coming up from behind. Kept his head down, kept steady, and I don't know, That's a heck of a dance. That's all I know.
I'm going to see you do that, Gino.
I'm impressed he had one ready, really.
I don't think I'd pull my hammy if I tried to do that one.
Or something. And as we saw, with assistant coach Mark Pulisic getting the embrace from Dabo after the goal, they had to have been looking at driving balls on target in the training ground, I would imagine, something like that.
Something like that, because he ran like a lightning bolt right to Mark Pulisic. So great to see, and great to see that type of connection with the staff.
This is Pulisic's first year with the Riverhounds, but he assisted Bob Lilly last year in Rochester, which I should mention, Rochester has been tentatively approved to join USL Division III in a couple of years. So I don't know if they're going to be called the Rhinos or not, but Rochester, New York will have pro soccer in the near future again.
Yeah, and I saw they're looking for a different place to play too, Matt.
They are.
They're not at the
now it's Marina Auto Stadium.
I was trying to think, what are they calling it these days? But
it's had a few names.
Yeah.
Used to be Salem Stadium for the longest time.
Oh, some good combination over there in the right-hand corner there. Forbes and
it's Dover. Now Vankiazil, he laid it back, kind of rolled it back for Dover, and the Riverhounds, the quick starting hounds, each half they've had looks.
Yeah, they'd come out flying right here, in the first minute or so. They're just closing down, and
that's well done from LeBon too to find it, and Francois, then over to Dover.
Well, you wonder how the energy could carry over when you score right at the end of the half. Sometimes it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah, excuse me, that was Forbes.
Spinning ball, it'll have to be saved there on the end line or near the end line by Fernandez of Tampa Bay, and he did keep it in briefly.
Yeah, and I see Stefano Bonomo walking up his ankle tape, so it was his ankle, Paul.
Oh yeah, I thought it was his knee, but sometimes I'm wrong, Gina.
Tough to play athletic trainer from up here. I'll say that much.
Right. Well, we knew it was one of those, some part of it.
He's injured, okay?
And I wasn't trying to call you out. I was just saying it was his ankle. I saw him taped up there.
Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein. We're having a good time on a Wednesday night. Second match in 4 days for the Hounds at home. So yeah, we're getting to know each other a little bit more than usual up here in the Highmark Stadium commentary box. Lubon, who Gene coached back in the day, we were talking about before the match. Andrew Lubon from Erie, PA, 2 hours up the road.
Yeah, had him for a little tournament, but that's many years ago. I'm sure he remembers none of that.
As Adewale slides it through, Andy as they call him, and the foul called against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Lubon just chopped down there, and no doubt it was a free kick. I'd like to see this ball get up in the air a little bit here, Gino, instead of these low drives that Tampa's been, the front players have been winning.
Right, you're right. I mean, I totally agree, Paul, especially with like a guy like Greenspan and Vankiazil and Adewale, and there's another one. Yeah, I mean,
Szymanski can't get the elevation on it.
He cannot, no.
Isn't it time for somebody else to take the kick, maybe, you know?
It's not been his best night on those deliveries.
Another fast restart for the Hounds. They did this a couple of times late in the first half. Well, we're used to seeing Kevin Kerr take a lot of the restarts, but Kevin is out with a calf injury, looking at weeks instead of days on that recovery timetable.
Yeah, that's disappointing, Matt. I mean, we missed something a little bit extra without having Kevin in the game. I mean, he's such a smart player. He reads it so well. He does such a terrific job of finding players and those deliveries, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
I mean, because they're always accurate. And Paul, we talk about him all the time, with Kevin being able to pick
just
guys
his work rate, you know, it's like a disease, you know. Everybody else picks up on it, and they all pick their game up, and it's tough to see him. But I did talk to him after the last game, and he said he was looking, hopefully, obviously with the Hounds in the situation they are and getting into the playoffs, hopefully he can recover and be back on the bench again.
Yeah, and the other thing he said to me was an injury similar to what Greenspan had early in the season, and it took Joe a little while to get back from that. So he gives you that little extra in the midfield. You know, clever, finds the different pockets of space, knows how to find the ball, knows how to connect with players, so that's missed a little bit. But we have seen Francois and Conrado Forbes pick it up a lot since then.
A handball was called by the assistant referee there. That's what Leo Fernandez was up in arms about, literally. So that hands the Hounds another restart here. Kevin Kerr, the 6-year Riverhound we're talking about, the usual captain when he's on the surface. Riverhounds number 10. He's still in the top 15 in the USL for chances created this year. So even though his numbers might not jump off the page at you this season, he's making things happen.
No, and I think that's what we're referring to, Matt. Like, he's up there with those chances created. He finds a way to all the time to be in the right spots and be able to deliver some terrific balls to connect players. And certainly his free kicks have been lethal over the years.
Luban to Toby Adewale, who took a few steps up into the attacking third. Back in the first half, Adewale didn't play. In fact, the other night against Charlotte, not much of a rotation as the Hounds had 3 days to recover between Saturday and Wednesday. Adewale, one of them. Forbes and Dover stationary, wanted to slice it right back through on the give and go with Forbes, but it's cleared.
Yeah, I guess really the only two changes we saw from Saturday were Luban and Adewale on the left side. Is that correct?
That seems to be the case. Well, no, Ray Lee made the, yeah, that's correct. Ray Lee was the one who was in where Luban is today.
Exactly.
Yes. So 2 material changes there. Same keeper, of course, with Dan Lind out, the facial injuries. Mike Kirk has made a couple of saves in this one. Hasn't faced much in the last 40 minutes or so, though.
Not really. No, I can't remember. Maybe one time.
Good spun ball. Brett wanted to go back to Forbes there, and Forbes took a body blow as he tried to get in on Daniel Vega, who grabs this for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the defender got his elbow out there some way and hit him right in the rib cage, I think.
Looks like the breath is out of him at the moment.
Yeah, very slow getting up.
Or pardon, that's Dover, actually. Dover, not Forbes. He does
because there's
trickle
Forbes.
his way back. Forbes is taking Dover's spot over there on the right flank, and now the ball will squirt right to him. Advantage called. Could have been a Tampa Bay foul if the Rowdies had possession. Riverhounds thwarted a bit here on the counterattack.
Tampa trying to get back into it again now, Gino. Matt, I think they was packing it in a little bit, and now I think they're like 5 or 10, 6, 7 minutes into the game, and they've started coming out a little bit more, but now drop back again.
Yeah, they really have, and we see
service in. Zemansky an inch away from getting the top of his head on that.
Boy, Zemansky, if he'd have just got a touch on that, I think it would have gone on target and could have been another goal, but just a fraction late.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Paul. I mean, you know, they have they're making sure they're getting numbers behind the ball right away, but they need to start really coming out a little bit higher and putting the Riverhounds under some pressure.
Yeah.
Remember, the Rowdies need points. They're 8 out of the playoffs at the moment with just 11 to play, counting tonight, in which they trail.
And you know, going as we talked about with Cincinnati coming to Tampa on the weekend, you know, they have 2 tough games. They got to get something out of this. And I'm sure the message from the coaching staff is, look, we need some points of this, regardless who we're playing.
Steel Army is getting rowdy. Speaking of the Rowdies,
there's a pretty good crowd here tonight. You know, it's nice to see on a Wednesday night.
A good showing for the Steel Army.
The word's getting out, folks. The Riverhounds are legit. Luban up toward the edge of the area. I think you are starting to see some word of mouth, though, Paul, in Pittsburgh. And it's been a good job by the marketing team all year, promoting the new era with Bob Lilly taking over and new players for the most part.
And getting more publicity on the airwaves as well. I've heard a lot of radio talk shows talking about us, so I think this is what we needed.
TV as well. You're seeing the local anchors drop by with Riverhounds highlights more so than in the past. Yes, this team's been around since '99, but it's still trying to make inways in the market. It's a busy sports market, as everyone knows. Luban here on the end of it from Francois. Right back across the face. Dover appears to be okay after the elbow to the ribs. Flips it. Forbes joins the party. Kenny to Jordan and right back to Ben Zemansky. The triangle set up there by the Hounds. It's effective here to keep possession. Forbes tapped away by Luban. He took the drive with the left foot.
That was a nice try.
That's what I'd like to see from Andy Luban, really taking that initiative to get in there and join that attack and come up and try to get that shot off. And And
some confidence too, Gino,
exactly.
because he's kind of hasn't had that.
In the corner for the Hounds.
He looks really good. I mean,
the pass wasn't the greatest. He had to make something from nothing, and he got it right past Joe Cole, famed English footballer. Szymanski's corner is an effective one here to get into that danger zone between the penalty spot and the 6, but headed clear by Taylor, the forward who came back to help.
I think what's strange there, Matt, is Greenspan went to the near post this time, thinking that he might get a short cross, and this time he got it really long, and wasn't the best player that was there to try and win that ball.
Joe Greenspan feels like he's close to getting a set-piece goal.
So I'd like to see Annie Luban a little bit higher and a little bit wider, more towards the touch. I mean, the Highmark Stadium is one of the more narrow fields, and really try to pull them out a little bit more.
Tampa Bay plays on a narrower field at Al Lang. It's a converted baseball stadium, so there's only so much room there. They've been there for a while, and so they're accustomed to a more constricted surface. The Hounds just dominating in possession, by the way, right now. 75% for Pittsburgh. That one's given away, though. Meant to mention that at the half, but the trend has continued in the second half.
And one thing we talked about with Tampa sitting deep, where they're going to be dangerous in the counter, and they're very slow to break out.
They are.
Taku volleys it forward. Afrim Taku, the Albanian, working against Toby Adewale, and Adewale won that shoving match.
That was smart there, just shielding the ball and letting it go out of bounds. Didn't take any chances with trying to kick it back to the keeper or doing something that could have caused a problem.
That was just Pittsburgh's second corner of the match. We haven't seen a ton of them as compared to the meeting with Charlotte, where each side had several this past Saturday here. Only goal on the board is, of all people, Mohamed Dabos. He scores from outside the box off the assist from Nico Brett in the 45th minute, +2.
Mike Kerr getting a ball for the first time in his hands, actually, and might be the last time, you don't know.
Yeah, he's been not had a lot to do, but you know that's tough for a goalkeeper, especially a young one like this. He has to stay focused, stay controlled, keep connected with his back line, because you never know if there is going to be any kind of quick break or quick counter. He's going to have to be ready. We saw that happen in the Charlotte game almost, where they had a very good opportunity.
Szymanski shields off Joe Cole, and the Riverhounds have something cooking here.
He did do well there.
The Bon a little bit behind Francois, who recovers. Wanted to slide it through, and it's blocked down.
Francois got to look up there that last second and see that there's a man there and maybe take another touch on the ball.
Hounds really moving the ball quick now.
Yeah, they are.
They're really, you know, I don't think Tampa can get out, even if they wanted to.
Dover attempting a through ball. Szymanski gives the thumbs up on the idea, but the execution wasn't quite there. You can get an inside look at life on and off the pitch from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening. Hey, that's tonight in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Not just scores, but also features, and From the Pitch, a direct look, direct pipeline into the life of a player in this league, which is getting better and better and bigger as we continue to announce expansions, and like we said, USL Division III coming into existence next year.
And the talent too. I mean, in the USL now we're seeing some really good young players coming through, and from all kinds of different nationalities as well as the US, and that's what's great to see. It's finally arrived.
And this Pittsburgh team, and you know, we've seen a lot of Riverhound teams over the years, Paul, and this is certainly one of the most well-balanced and overall athletically talented teams that we have seen. So they're a reason, if you're a soccer fan in Pittsburgh, to come out here and to see some high-quality soccer. This is certainly a team that's going to challenge for the title, and certainly is up there with the top teams in the USL.
We mentioned a nice crowd for a Wednesday, nearly 3,000 this past Saturday. The USL in general has surpassed 2 million in attendance this week. That's a record pace on a per-team basis in the modern era. So thanks to all the fans, and yeah, we're looking forward to how the season finishes up here with the Hounds in contention. Of course, it's exciting in Pittsburgh, but USL Cup playoffs in October. Here comes the throw from Afrim Taku. Ball overhead. One of the few times Tampa has actually had a chance to set something up in the attacking area of the field.
I was just thinking
Taylor's header. And again, nothing comes of it as Zemansky finds Brett, who swings it away with the volley. Dabo, the goal scorer. Luban.
Oh, that could be a great
ball.
Looking for Forbes, a little too far though.
And Tampa got back well there to deny that, but I like the idea of LeBron looking up and trying to hit that long diagonal to Canardo Forbes running onto it.
Taku here with Francois, and oh my, Francois wiped them out. This will be a foul against the Hounds, number 7. It's the 6th foul against Pittsburgh. Tampa's committed 7 of them. Set off the top, not a lot of fouls for either team in this season. They play pretty clean soccer.
Last couple of minutes, Tampa's been down in the Hounds area. And
Taku, well taken, but Taylor can't guide it on target with the forehead.
That ball was just rising and rising. It just never came down and couldn't get over that ball at all.
Wind blowing in the direction of Tampa's attack, by the way. So maybe that helped keep that ball airborne.
Yeah, it just seemed to stay up there for a long time.
Yeah, not a lot he could do with that one. And
no.
So Kirk sends it down against that breeze, which is freshening. It's going to drop into the mid-50s, heaven forbid, in Pittsburgh tonight. So it's a refreshing night. And Taylor bumped into by Vunky Azil. A card is out, and Tommy V has been issued one.
Yeah, dangerous situation here for the Hounds. They've got to be on the ball here and be aware. And this is where Joe Cole scored on them in Tampa with a free kick. So
that's right. It squirted through the legs of Dan Lind.
Yeah, we don't want to see another one of those. And,
if I'm not mistaken, gentlemen, that is a card that will put Thomas Vunky Azil out for the Riverhounds match a week from tonight at Indy. That's his 6th of the season.
Okay.
Boy.
He leads the team in yellow cards. He faces so many tackles and duels, it makes sense.
It looks like Joe Cole is not going to take this one.
No.
Card in the 62nd. And that'll hurt the Hounds' cause in a week's time. As for right now, Vunky Azil just gets the warning.
So I don't know. Is it going to be Fernandez? Is it going to be Taco? Which one is going to hit this one?
I think Fernandez, the left footer.
Yeah, I would say he has the best look.
Fernandez will try with the left.
Yeah,
well too high, though. That one never had a chance. Kirk watches it sail into the Paul Child stand and bounce back out. Got to give that a plug.
So I guess it wasn't raining for Joe Cole to take that. We saw it down in Tampa when he hit that.
That was a bit of actually it was a shame there. Fernandez, I mean, that was a bit of a waste. They haven't had many opportunities, and that's when you've got to like buckle down and make sure at least you get it on target or try and create a rebound or something, even if you can't get the perfect shot.
Like I said, it was high from the start. Went for the perfect shot. The throw in, Luban to Brett. A good switch of play. Jordan Dover, Riverhounds aggressive wing back, downshifts.
Dabo.
There's Dabo. You think he might take a second crack? I don't know. This time he picks out Francois, though. Francois 1v2, wants to split the cap and nearly did. Couldn't get past the defending of Vingard, though, well enough to get to the ball.
Dabo taking a shot at Francois with that ball.
Junior Flemings is going to check into this game for Tampa at the next stoppage in play. This in the 65th minute, we will have it. The opportunity.
Luban dribbled out of bounds there, so it's a throw-in for Tampa.
There goes Hristoff. He had the 64 goals in his USL career, 148 appearances for Tampa Bay. But the 33-year-old is done for the night. That'll add some firepower to the top of the Tampa formation, though. Flemings, 4 goals, 3 assists. He had 16 goals the last 2 seasons with New York Red Bulls, too. A couple of Red Bulls expats on this Tampa Bay roster, both forwards, at least in this game. Bonomo, who's out, and now Flemings, who's in.
It's funny with Ristov being a Bulgarian, all I can think of is Ristov Stoichkov.
Yeah,
you know,
really.
It's
name from the past.
Of course, the great Bulgarian guy who did.
Yeah, Stoichkov
Luban
so well
puts it into trouble, and that's headed clear by Diakite, but that leads to a Riverhounds corner kick.
Yeah, Diakite did well to get on that. I mean,
yeah,
and clear that one out, but that's a kind of dangerous ball we want to see more from Luban.
This time it was Luban with Francois playing a two-man game, and Francois' dish was accurate.
Yeah, that's a little combination we've seen similar from that right side with Dover and Forbes.
Yep.
So let's see more of that from the left.
Looks like Forbes taking this corner kick for the Hounds.
Well, that's
where's that?
That's a change. So hopefully we can get this one.
I believe it is Forbes. He will try it. Toward the near post, and a driven ball. It sprays out of there off a Tampa head, and a Riverhounds throw. They'll keep in possession of it. There's a dispute.
It came off the Tampa player. He kicked it out, and I don't know why he's arguing.
Dangerous driven ball. We're still not up enough. Yeah, high enough. Getting it past that first defender who was able to clear it. But
well, can the Riverhounds add a second? They've won here 1-0. They've also run away with some matches. A 4-0, a 3-0 in there a couple of times. The script, if the Hounds get one early, is that they do add on for the most part here at home.
And I think, Tampa's trying to hang on, keep it tight, keep it close, and
stay in the game. Yeah,
stay in the game, and can they nick a point somewhere along the line? Really see what happens with Fleming in the game, but Kevin Taylor has been staying up very high, pretty much by himself,
Francois wants to go after it. It's headed away by Taku, but Francois gets it right back as Luban was there on the loose ball.
Luban wise there, getting out of the way.
Francois wanted to bend one in. We've seen that a few times too on the end line. No sail there.
You see that, with Luban, he saw Francois get the ball, and then he took off and got out of his space so he could take those players on.
I'd actually like to see him maybe overlap.
Do that, yeah.
And then again force the defenders to make a couple more decisions on that. But yeah, he did wise to get out of there, Paul. You're correct.
Leon Taylor's upset about the call against him as he sent Adewale spinning down to the pitch, and here is that call, using his hand, his left-handed Taylor, to swim past Adewale illegally, as it turned out. Mike Kirk will handle this free kick, by the way. Stay up to date on all the best from social media around the USL. Friday night, Off the Post with Kelsey Steele. USL social media channels is where you find that. Facebook, Twitter, especially. Oops. This one's too deep from Flemings, who comes up lame.
I think he had a collision with Dabo on that one. And
it was a bit of a late call there, though. I think he heard the player scream and then look at him and then blew the whistle. But
now the fouls more than evened up. Riverhounds now have more in this one. And we do have the one yellow card, as we mentioned. Thomas Vanke Azil has 6 on the year to lead this squad. So keep an eye on that. He doesn't want to get in any kind of confrontation, dangerous spot later on. Greenspan,
winning that one.
Unafraid of any of that.
Yeah.
Gets high against Diakite.
And it's about the second or third time that Tampa's had a free kick from the center of the field. They played it vertically right to Greenspan.
Yeah, straight down the center.
Which is, I think I got to try and do something a little more different with that. You're not going to win, as we said, too many of those with 6'6" Joe Greenspan back there. So
Greenspan, when he starts, the Riverhounds usually get a clean sheet. 8 out of 11 times when he started this season, the opposing team has not scored a goal. Not that he's everything, but he's a big part of that back line in more ways than one. Vanke Azil leads Dover ahead into the attacking third. Zemansky chasing for Pittsburgh. Riverhounds number 13 try to belt that toward the goal off the volley. And is this a corner? It is a corner.
Yep.
And Diakite is upset again. He ripped the flag out of the stanchion over there.
Take the flag with him into the center.
Be an extra limb in there to try to defend.
Poke somebody with it, I suppose.
No weapons allowed outside of your spikes, I suppose. Zemansky has his hand up. Another low, short one, and this time it nearly worked out with Vankiazil getting ahead on the ball.
A little bit too short, though. I mean, that was a tough angle to do anything with, and you know, he was past the 6-yard, the outside the 6-yard, or getting close to the outside of the left side of the 6-yard box, and that's really hard to get a flick on there.
Yeah, he did well to direct it a little bit, but like I said, the angle was not conducive to really getting anything out of it.
Oh.
The battle is on in the midfield circle. Mohamed Dabo. Greenspan almost had a duck to get that one. That happens a few times with him over the course of a match. Forbes dragging it through traffic, patient, poised on the ball. Canardo Forbes. The distribution out on far side. There's Zemansky, and he, well, outdueled himself there as he tried to cut that pass back against the grain. Hit his own leg with it. Adewale in a fight there with Taylor did keep the Hounds in possession. Francois is going to receive this one as Lubon runs the overlap.
Yeah, this time he is overlapping.
Yeah, no, he's going to provide some width, and they have to come out on him, and that's what I think they need to do more with Tampa sitting so deep.
Sure.
You know, they have to draw some guys out, either wide or hitting those long shots like Dabo hit at the end of the first half.
Forbes confident, but I believe he dribbled himself out into touch. He did. It's a goal kick for the Rowdies.
Yeah, and we're in the 71st minute, and it's gonna get frustrating for Tampa, I would imagine now, and you know, they're going to take some more chances here, Gino.
They really do, and they haven't asserted themselves at all, really, in the last 10, 15 minutes, and they're going to have to start looking to do that. And here's, as we say, they play one in.
Flemings, what a chance against Kerr, and he scored!
Smoke.
Junior Flemings out of nothing ends up 1v1 with the keeper. Kirk charged, Flemings finished, and the Riverhounds have allowed just their 3rd goal of the season in home league matches.
Boy, you spoke way too soon on that one. They played that one over top.
And Greenspan kind of really got caught there. And I think he'd love to have that chance back again.
We're missing that. Great finish by Fleming, and very composed. But like you said, Greenspan got spun off a little bit. And Mike Kirk tried to come out and stay big, but really tough one for him. Tough one for him to do. But had nothing to do all night, and now he's come out and make that big save.
Well, now they get confidence, I would imagine, and Tampa's going to start coming at the Hounds, or just probably for the next 10 minutes or so, Gino, and then maybe settle back. And,
and Paul, what I've been thinking, I don't know about you, is like, you know, the Riverhounds been dominating possession. That you hit some statistics earlier, and we need that second goal, because you know, whenever it's 1-0, one play over top like that, and you can get burnt, and that's exactly what happened. Completely against the run of play, but they had Fleming up there, who's dangerous. Pointed out earlier, one of their more dangerous players comes on as a sub to give us some fresh legs, and is able to wheel off Joe Greenspan, who's been a stalwart all night. But that's how crazy game, how it goes.
72nd minute goal for Junior Flemings. I was surprised he didn't start because, like I said, I've watched some recent matches with Tampa, and he seemed to be the most dangerous attacker on the field. But again, Tampa's got another match on Saturday back at home against Cincinnati, 2 days to rest. So perhaps a shift situation going on with manager Neil Collins. As it turned out, Fleming scores Tampa's 6th game-tying goal of the season. They've been working from behind, and they've pulled it off a few times. Greenspan did win that header. And Gene, to your point, I think the phrase "against the run of play" was invented for a goal like that, because I did not see that one coming.
No, it happened so quick. A little, you know, a little stoppage, boom, one over top, and Fleming was there. And one of the few times we've seen a one-on-one the entire.
Francois to the back post, excuse me, and trying the volley was Forbes, or pardon, Dover.
That was actually the 3rd time I think they'd been down in the Hounds' end.
Yeah. I think so. Dover tries to chip this ball, and it's a corner kick. It's off a Tampa Bay leg, that of Diakite again, the Senegalese fullback.
And I think Bob Lilly's going to come up with some, start looking. It's time for some substitutions, some changes, and maybe get for the Riverhounds to get some fresh legs. And we find somebody to get the winning goal, which what Fleming did for them.
Zemansky again. This is headed up into the atmosphere, and it'll be a repeat try for Zemansky off the clear. Taylor got that. And the Hounds don't play again until next Wednesday, so they have no weekend match to save anybody for.
And I think we're going to see Romeo Parks coming on soon.
He was so effective against Tampa in that match in St. Petersburg. Zemansky gets more height on this one, but to no avail. That's at least headed clear by Gorski, and well, let's see if the Rowdies can generate anything from this. They'll at least find the ball with Joe Cole helping.
And Greenspan went to the near post again there. And, you know, he's 6'6". I can't understand why he's going to the near post. I mean, you need like Nico Brad, a smaller player.
Vanke Azil.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Vanke Azil's very good because he has that body and he can get across guys.
Yeah.
I think Joe's one of those guys that likes the ball in the air and he can time it and get up.
And if he's at the far post, he can knock it back across you, you know, to create another chance.
Absolutely.
Tommy V scored a header goal in the U.S. Open Cup against Erie. So it has happened, but the Hounds have not scored any league goals off set pieces. It's crazy here in match number 24. You feel like they're due, but they still have to execute here. Dover just lifted one in. Diakite with the right foot on it to avoid trouble for Tampa Bay. Forbes trying to run the gauntlet, but it's not going to work. Here comes Romeo Parks from the Riverhounds bench. At least at the next stoppage, there was not enough time there. Bob Lilly, the Hounds coach, giving some last moment instructions to his big striker, Parks. Parks at 6'3". He's the Hounds' biggest target up top when they do deploy him. Hasn't played a ton lately. Came in as a sub against Charlotte on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm thinking we'd like to see Parks just turning up a notch and get on the board here. That would be great for Parks and the team. And he's looking for that spark right now.
Like Ben Zemansky.
Zemansky off in the 77th. The man with 133 MLS appearances, Ben Zemansky, puts in a shift, and now it's Parks' turn. That's why you have Romeo Parks on your roster, for some magic when you need it.
Well, Ben Zemansky's had a strong game. He's worked very, very hard. He's put in a strong shift. But obviously Romeo is a completely different type of player. So Bob Lilly's looking for someone to pick things up in the attack and maybe have that little extra spark of creativity to try and make something happen and get that winning goal.
Joe Cole's out.
Cole is out. That is it for the former English international star, really. Joe Cole, maybe finishing his career here in the USA in his 3rd season with the Rowdies. He's done in this match, though. And Sebastian Guenzati is in.
So when Chelsea was here in 2004 to play Rome, I'm looking across the river and seeing PNC Park all lit up because the Pirates are there, and I had a few friends that went to the Pirate game, and they're walking up to the refreshment stand. They see a couple guys with Chelsea shirts on, and they look up, and my buddy goes, "Excuse me, aren't you John Terry?" So who was standing with him? With Terry and Frank Lampard and Joe Cole, and they walked across the bridge and went to watch the Pirate game.
How about that?
And
I remember that. Yeah, you were.
And you know, crazy. You know, like we couldn't do this anywhere else in England. That's for sure.
No,
you know? And of course, nobody in the Pirate game had any clue who they were except my buddies. You know, so.
Absolutely not. And especially back then in 2004, as that past does not connect here. In 2004, there wasn't the exposure of the Premier League at that point in America. Now with NBC Sports Network showing it, with the presence of the Premier League in the international sports scene, especially here in America, well, I think now you'd recognize.
I still don't think Pirate fans would recognize.
Maybe
Joe
not
Cole.
Pirate fans.
No, I don't think
that might be a totally different demographic.
Yes.
In fact.
From what I've seen, I think so.
Yeah. I think the newer generation, though, not to be ageist about it, but the newer generation is more exposed to the stars of the Premiership and other big leagues across the pond.
Well, hopefully some of our stars can make something happen here for the Riverhounds and also for the Tampa Bay. they're hoping that substitution will give them a little bit more energy in the midfield, and because certainly Joe Cole has worked his socks off the entire night as the established pro that he is.
Well, the USL is on pace to go over 2 million fans this weekend. The Riverhounds have contributed about 2,000 here tonight. We just received word. Just shy of the 2K mark on a Wednesday. Riverhounds at the edge of the 18. Oh boy, that was off the shoulder, maybe the arm of one of the Rowdies. Just inside the 18-yard box, and Adewale is just trucked over here by Taylor, and he's slow to get up as Adewale. He and Taylor have gone body to body several times in the second half.
Yeah, this Taylor's a very physical player. I mean, every time he's in the challenge, he's really battling or fighting for the ball. And
that's his second time he's kind of run over Adewale.
Adewale is spitting up blood, it looks like. He's showing the referee, Oliveira, and you're right, there was some arm involved there.
An elbow to the...
Tim Smith, the athletic trainer, is checking. Adewale might have lost a tooth, perhaps. One of our cameramen tipping us off to that. Adewale fell and then maybe even face planted after Taylor just treated him with disdain on that pursuit.
Yep.
So 82nd minute, the Riverhounds, if you're joining us late, scored late in the first half on a goal, a thunderbolt from Mohamed Dabo. Bolt from the blue for Dabo, the man from Senegal. Junior Flemings, though, 22-year-old Jamaican forward, has answered here in the second half. Ball over the top, and he tapped it by Mike Kirk. So Kirk is beaten for the first time as a Hound.
Elbow right there into...
That's what it was. It wasn't a face plant. It was an elbow.
Yeah. That's usually a red card, but I think the referee totally missed it, and the linesman didn't
help him out.
Help him either.
Romeo Parks gets involved in a ball battle on that occasion.
Yeah, that's contact above the shoulders, and that's usually means some type of booking.
Sure.
Just one card in this game, the yellow issued to Thomas Vankiazil, the Riverhounds rookie. Well, it's not a scoreless draw here tonight, but it might be a draw. The second one of the season between these two teams. It was 2-2 back in May down in St. Pete. Not over yet. Luban on the ball. Andrew Luban's gaining confidence with every minute. It appears. Wanted to fire across for Brett, who was frustrated the ball didn't get through.
Caught a lot of players by surprise there, because I didn't think he was going to drive that ball across, and he caught the defenders and got it into the box.
Yeah, I think Luban has been much more active this second half, much more assertive, you know, really looking to get forward and getting forward with some confidence.
Just his sixth start, so sometimes it takes a while. Parks now, his first real attempt at a ball there was fended off, but Dabo swats it over to Luban again. Andrew Luban toward the spot. Brett's lurking, looking for any kind of missed touch, but there was none. At least not on that occasion from Fernandez. Flemings yanks it down. He's hit, and play continues on the clean challenge from Luban. Cristiano Francois. Anything left in his tank? Usually there is something. The ball bounds out to Dabo. Dished it square. Calling for it over there is Vankiazil, who's making himself available very wide on the river side of the pitch. Riverhounds in black and gold attacking here. Right to left. This is in for a clear attempt by Diakite that he doesn't quite get enough of, and it leads to a corner.
Yeah, pretty awkward clearance there from Diakite.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
There you see that stat on the score bug that you're looking at on your screen. 5 of the Hounds' 16 goals at home have come past the 80th minute, so they have done it before. Here's the corner. And Taylor winning another aerial ball. He's been good with that. But the Riverhounds have it right back. Slid through, looking for Brett was Forbes, but does not hook up. Keeper for Tampa Bay, Daniel Vega. Well, he has not been challenged a ton despite all the possession for Pittsburgh tonight.
And they're calling out the Tampa trainer again, I think, for...
Is that Diakite, who's injured in some way, reaching for his face? reaching inside his mouth, in fact. Well, you know, when those corner kicks, bodies are banging together and something's bound to happen.
Yeah.
4 shots on target, by the way, for the Hounds, 2 for the Rowdies.
This looks like he's got a knock in the mouth as well, and went probably from a head or an elbow. I mean, heads are more common when you're in the corner kick situation.
I wonder if it was from that challenge we saw where he was a little off balance and had that wild clearance that he could hit with that knocked him off a little bit. But I think they're going to go ahead and play through it.
Pape Diakite, first year as a Rowdy, played last year in the Belgian 2nd division. So he comes over stateside.
Who did he play for?
I don't have that written down here, Paul. Thanks for calling me out.
No, I'm interested.
The ball bounces clear. I do not have that right in front of me. We can look it up later if you want.
I was just interested because I went to Belgium and played for 6 months.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Played for Union Royal Namur, which were in the 2nd division when I was a San Jose Earthquake player.
Well, now I'm interested. I have to check that out. But Diakite is okay, as it turns out.
But you should know those kind of things, Matt.
I really should.
You should know every team in the Belgian 2nd division. Come on.
Here we go. Royal Antwerp was who he played for. Okay. Thanks to the Tampa Bay media guide, media notes. Good stuff from Nico down there. In the meantime, it's the 87th minute of a 1-1 match, and it's a goal kick for Tampa Bay. Diakite is still reaching for his mouth, by the way. Maybe about 5 minutes to go, give or take, with some stoppage.
Tampa Bay really taking their time here. These goalkeepers.
No, they are. They're really showing
dragging.
you know, they're going to be very content with a point.
Yeah, sure.
And they'll be very happy, and the Riverhounds are going to be very disappointed.
Just 1 lapse is all it takes. We saw last match the Riverhounds gave up a clear look, even with an extra man, against Charlotte, but the shot was missed. This time the shot was buried by Flemings. It was Jake Ehrman of Charlotte who had a clean look at Kirk and pushed it wide of the post. Went on to be a 0-0 draw on Saturday. Taylor and Adewale again, and Adewale gave him an extra bump there beyond the touchline. That is quite the fight to watch tonight.
Yeah, that's those two have had quite the duel since Taylor's come onto the game. You know, Matt, one of the things you mentioned, the Riverhounds, 4 shots. Is that
4 on target, 8 total? Yes.
8 total.
Yeah, these two are battling each other pretty good.
And Adewale gives him a little bump and says, "Thanks, that's for almost knocking my tooth loose."
Yeah, exactly.
Before that. But I think, you know, one of the things the Hounds have to certainly take a look at in the coming week here is, you know, they're dominating this possession. They're doing well with it, but, you know, they're still not creating enough opportunities in that attack third, Paul.
Exactly.
This isn't a night like Saturday where you could point to 2 or 3, especially for Brett. Right. He misfired on at least 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, Nico has not had any service at all.
No, nothing here tonight. And Tampa's been more organized than Charlotte, to give them credit. Been more staunch, I think. But Francois is trying to change the script. Throws it in! No, just wide of the post. He might have missed it by a foot. Vega was slow to react.
He almost changed it there. I was surprised Vega let that go. I mean, of course, obviously he has a better angle around than we do, but it's...
it was more of a cross than a shot, but...
Yeah, Cristiano, I think he was going for that back post. He
might have been.
Little release.
Got a deflection off the defender, maybe off the foot, and spun it towards the goal.
His head comes up a little bit. He saw where Vega was and thought maybe he could lift it over, and nice little release from Cristiano to pop it in.
And just as we talked about Brett, he was a couple of yards short of that, whether it was a cross or a shot. Either way, he was near the ball. Francois gets wrapped up with Vingard, and the call goes to Tampa Bay. No foul, it's just an out-of-bounds play. And Taku will toss it down. Adewale drives it up into the air. Greenspan allows Kirk to handle. Mike Kirk, his 2nd league start, 3rd overall. He went 3 months between starts last time. This time it's 3 days.
Newbon's got to go at him here.
He has some room, doesn't he? As it opens up. Lubon sliding it in.
Nice little drag by
Parks takes it well, doesn't he? And did he win the corner? He did. That's the head referee's call in that corner, and De Oliveira points to the corner kick spot to the arc.
And here the fans.
Francois is going to take this. Yes, the stomping begins in the bleachers. Greenspan could not get it online. Lubon driving his body forward, but the ball pops loose to Tampa Bay. And the Rowdies just a couple of minutes away from getting a point from Pittsburgh. Not many teams have done it this year.
Dover taking no chances there.
Yeah,
just,
for sure.
3 minutes added on. We have reached stoppage time in the second half. Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein. It's been an entertaining midweek special at Highmark Stadium. Great to have you along on ESPN+. Hounds scored first. Rowdies have rallied back. Flemings, Junior Flemings, who just touched it there, has the only goal this second half. He wrapped up at a Wale, but apparently no harm, no foul. They'll give the Riverhounds the throw. Parks loves that flick-on header, but this time it does not work to get the ball to Francois. Romeo Parks has checked in recently. Kirk coming out. The ball skips away from him after he slides, but he's okay with it.
Yeah, Mike Kirk had to come a long way for that one. And
yeah, I was a little surprised he went for it, actually, because the wind is blowing a little bit, but...
Looked like an outfielder across the way at PNC Park, maybe. Pirates taking on the Braves over there at soccer on the south side.
Push in the back, it's got to be a free kick.
Guenzotti gets called.
He did call.
Sebastian Guenzotti is guilty there. And it will be a free kick. The Hounds have a couple of minutes if they want to pull out 3 points here. Remember, they tied Charlotte in this mini home stand on Saturday to start it. This will finish it tonight.
Lubon's wide open on this left side.
He's just hanging out at a Wale. Finds another open man, though, in the middle of the park.
Andy.
That's Forbes.
Yeah, there it goes to Lubon.
Lubon gets that ball on the diagonal. And Lubon through legs, a couple of them at least. Taylor gets the clear for Tampa Bay. Dover tried to volley it to himself. He's battling hard with Leo Fernandez, and it's a goal kick. Fernandez just did enough with the ball in the air to prevent Dover from squeezing past him. About 1 minute to go in this one, give or take.
And the goalkeeper's going to... No, not at all. And the goalkeeper's using the whole width of the 6-yard box to walk completely to the other side.
Yeah.
And I hope the referees...
I mean, you know, if he said a minimum of 3, he better add it. And I saw him put up 1 more minute, so I'm wondering if he's like...
He just did, in fact. We see it on camera. Good spotting from our camera crew, referee De Oliveira. Francois is upset with himself. He could not handle it.
And of course, Collins, Tampa coaching staff, not happy with saying the added time. But as you, Paul, you called it several times already, taking a good old time with it. And, you know, we understand why, but it's...
Oh, yeah, of course. You got...
It's all part of the gamesmanship of soccer. Can the Hounds hold it in? They will. Francois doing well.
And this could be one of the final attacks.
This is probably it. If you're the Riverhounds, you need a goal on this push to get a win here at home against Tampa Bay.
Oh, he's wide open.
Forbes does have a man. It is Dover can't get it.
I mean, a terrific look by Canardo Forbes. Opened up the game really well. Hit the diagonal ball. Dover just could not bring it down.
One of the few times we've seen Tampa Bay get stretched out, too. And remember, they can't keep just nicking a point here or there. They have to get 3. And here's Brett helping out.
And there he goes across
Vega.
the box again.
Yeah.
And he just got a yellow card. I don't know. I've never seen a goalkeeper usually get 2.
There it is, yes. Vega gets the card for excessive gamesmanship or unsportsmanlike conduct, whatever you want to call it. 90-minute plus.
Well, Tampa, they do need more than 1, but I think they're content to get out here with 1 and see what they can do at home with Cincinnati, which is probably their plan. So if they can come out of the weekend with this week with 4 points, then they feel that they've made some progress.
That's the end of the game.
And that is it. They're going to be happy with that.
You hear the 3 whistles. The Hounds get an extra minute to try to get a goal, but they still cannot convert. It's a 1-1 final, and these two teams will, in all likelihood, finish their season series with a pair of draws. 2-2 in St. Pete back in May, and today on August 22nd, 2018, it's 1 for Pittsburgh and 1 for Tampa Bay. 90 minutes in the books. The Riverhounds go 0-2 on this homestand, but they're still unbeaten in August at 3-0-2, so both sides of the coin there, if you want to look at it that way. And they'll have 6 days to recover and prepare for the Indy-Cincy road trip spanning August and September. We'll take a step out. We'll go ahead, Gene.
Well, I was just going to say that now those games with Cincinnati become even more important because they've dropped a couple points, and it's going to be really important for them to come up with a couple wins in Cincinnati.
Well, we'll get to what the other teams in the league did tonight as well. That's important too, and Cincinnati was in action. So we'll try our best to give you some updated standings on the other side of this break for our postgame on ESPN+.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
It's so unfair. You just feel stripped of being a woman, not being able to have a child. Or they had told me that I can't have kids naturally. It was just like waterworks.
Yeah, what's it like being pregnant?
But it's an amazing thing to know that I don't have all of the things to make a baby, but I still made this baby.
I mean, it really is a miracle.
Seriously.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a fertility expert at Allegheny Health Network.
Forbes has an open man. Jamaican to Jamaican. And buries it. Nico Brett, beautiful.
Catch the action at Highmark Stadium as the Riverhounds battle for a home playoff position. On September 7th, the Bethlehem Steel FC roll into town for a special Friday matchup. Gates open at 5:30 p.m., $1 beers until kickoff. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Some to the good, some to the bad for both teams tonight. There you see the score. That tells the story, doesn't it? 1-1. Riverhounds score first in the first half. And there's Junior Flemings, the hero for Tampa Bay tonight, pulling a point back as a second half substitution. I'm Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein. Bobby Lee giving his post-game team talk before the Hounds go over to say hello and give thanks to the Steel Army supporters group for turning out on a Wednesday night. Mohamed Dabo, we're trying to get a shot of him. He's standing behind Hunter Gilstrap, the goalkeeping coach, but he had the goal for Pittsburgh, his first pro strike. And looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, gentlemen, Cincinnati up 5-1 against Atlanta. So yes, FC Cincy will now pull 9 points ahead of Pittsburgh for that top spot.
So that we said again, that was, you could tell the expressions as Tampa walked off. They had some smiles, and no smiles on the Riverhounds sideline with that because they needed 3 points.
Yeah, I'm sure Bob Lilly's really frustrated with it, you know, and giving that simple one real decent chance and a little hiccup, and he gets scored on.
Well, we haven't seen the Riverhounds concede a lead very often this season either. In fact, that's definitely the first time at home it happened. I'll have to look at the stats to see overall. Here's a chance very early on. Remember, Tampa Bay actually came out pretty hot in the first 10 minutes, but Joe Cole whiffs on that aerial volley, that attempt up by his head. He could not command it on the first touch.
Yeah. One of the few saves that Mike Kirk had to make, and here's Francois with a terrific shot, was partially blocked. And that's what we saw him do a lot during the game, is run at defenders and able to strike some good balls on goal.
Pape Diakite might have saved the day there. Forbes got all of that volley, but that time Vega making the save.
Real good job there by the goalkeeper, covering that near post, and a well-hit strike.
did well, stayed big, stayed strong, and here's the goal. Dabo rips it right before the end of the half. Great layoff from Nico Brett to connect with him and find him, and Dabo puts it on, and the Riverhounds go into the dressing room up 1-0.
So it wasn't a fruitless first half.
No, great
Fine
layoff
strike
there. Great layoff and well hit in the outside of his right boot and swerving away from the keeper.
And Dabo runs over to assistant coach Mark Pulisic. Well, here's the misplay from Joe Greenspan that led to Junior Flemings' chance on goal, and squaring off against Mike Kirk. Kirk came out. Flemings tapped it by him.
You don't see that too often from Joe Greenspan, where he kind of mistimed that one.
I think he just
kind of lost sight of it.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
I think maybe he just like it was a quick kick, a quick take, and I think they just.
Notes, or otherwise we would have included it in the highlight package here. So there you see the numbers. Again, possession dominant for Pittsburgh. That's the second straight game, guys. They've had over 70% of the ball. So it's funny, that was the focus for Bob Lilly about a month ago. Well, now the Hounds have it, but they stopped scoring as much with possession. So I don't know if you can find a happy medium there.
Yeah, I'd go with a less percentage.
Well, obviously, yes,
you
if you had to choose one or the other.
And take advantage of that, because we're not creating a lot of good chances, Gino.
No, we're not. 4 shots on target, Paul. 74% possession. A lot of that possession is in front of the Tampa back line. And when we see teams like Charlotte and Tampa dropping off very, very deep, they're going to give them that space. They're going to give them those touches going from right back to left back, or maybe through the midfield and out to the flank. And we talked about the only success that the Hounds really had. Most of those shots were from distance. You know, they were not getting any shots at all inside the penalty area.
No.
And I wonder if Romeo Parks, if you work him back into the starting 11, maybe he can help create in some tight spaces, a big body, athletic frame. It's worked with he and Brett, in fact.
Sure, I mean, you look for that. You need him to come back into it and get back into the game. And he usually does work very well with Nico Brett, or he has done in the past. So I'm sure they want to see that happen again. And there's still quite a few games left yet, and I think that might turn around. And obviously we're not losing games, but we need the points, and we need to stay in the position we're in.
And they need that little creative spark to break these teams down.
Yeah, they are bunkering in for the most part against the Riverhounds. Well, there you see the next match for Pittsburgh is at Indy. Second matchup of the season against the 11 at Lucas Oil Stadium. Big facility, obviously, and Indy will bring a nice crowd, I'm sure, on Wednesday. And then, of course, we talked about Labor Day weekend at Cincinnati, too. Next time we're back at home, next time you'll hear from us here on ESPN Plus, is into the month of September. Bethlehem Steel on a Friday night. Take note, that's a change in schedule. It was a Saturday, but now it is Friday the 7th of September against Bethlehem to open a 3-game homestand. Well, it's been fun tonight from Pittsburgh. Hounds strike first. Rowdies knotted up. And, well, we're just catching up on the stats. I wanted to let everyone know that the only time the Hounds have conceded a lead and have not won the game when they had a lead was at Cincinnati. So it's been a long time. It's been since April that we've seen this type of an outcome. Again, for Paul Child and Gene Klein, I am Matt Geica saying good night from Highmark Stadium. Talk to you in September.
Good night.
Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.